5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome, everyone, to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. Yay! Indeed, Julia. This is a podcast where my co-host and I listen to and watch all the Cincinnati-based craft beer media from the previous week. We get together at a podcast host, and today we are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park. Thank you, Higher Gravity, for being a gracious podcast host. Somebody else is back.
It's true.
So,
it's true. It's been a while.
It's been a while. So, thank you to Higher Gravity for being a gracious podcast host. So, my name is Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally, and that voice you heard, actually, also, hopefully, there aren't too many consequences from the host of the other craft beer podcast and media, but one of the other voices you heard belongs to the best co-host in podcast landia.
I'm Julia. I drink craft beer. I eat dicks, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, what else is there to say?
Right. My God.
You know?
That's it.
Tuesday. That is, woke up and I was like, I get to have some dicks today.
Man, today is the day.
Today's the day. Higher gravity and some dicks. And so the other back you heard comes from.
Oh, me. I'm literally Gnome. I eat a bunch of bags of dicks, like regularly.
Yeah.
Like a lot of dicks.
Yeah.
Gnome is back. What is it? A 3-week break you took? Did you had to go?
I don't know. I mean, I've always been around.
Yeah.
It's true. That's true.
You've tangentially been around. But,
Well, and sometimes like I yell at the radio. I call it the radio. It's the podcast player in my car.
Yeah.
It's the thing that spits podcasts out. I yell at it so I feel like I'm on the show.
well, a few weeks ago,
I don't know.
A few weeks ago, you ditched us for Binsky's.
Yeah.
Well, no. No, because Marco called me after you guys were done.
Yeah, we were done, though.
You were done, and that's when I was at Binsky's.
Okay.
Also, a great dick purveyor.
Speaking of, we have a guest. Now,
I'm more like an appendage, I would say.
Like a big old appendage.
yeah. So that voice you heard is the appendage. Belongs to Jason with
Slapping
Dick's
it around.
Potato Chips.
What's up, guys?
Yes.
Hey!
Check out our bonus episode where we talk nothing but dicks for like almost 45 minutes.
do it.
These
Gotta do it.
are the best potato chips that I have ever had. It is fantastic. So,
Thanks,
Jason,
guys.
Thank you for sticking around to.
That
There
is
we
not me,
go.
by the way. Although I do like the sound effects.
It
They're
sounds
so
amazing.
good.
Thanks, I really appreciate it. We had the world exclusive premiere of our new flavors, so it was a pleasure to introduce
and it
that
is-
to y'all tonight.
It's
Yes.
delicious. So follow Dick's on all the social medias. You're on? I know you're on Facebook.
Yep, Facebook and Instagram.
Be
Okay,
careful with
okay.
your Googling.
Yes, Dick's Potato Chips. Otherwise, you're going to get a sporting goods company, and no one wants.
No,
that.
you're not.
Nope.
That's not what you're going to get. That's not what you're going to get.
Yeah, we've had to do some tweaking with our search engine optimization with the Dick's Potato Chips brand. We've worked with Google on that.
Yes.
I would imagine that would take some work. So,
Work those dicks.
yeah, I guess we'll try and power through.
Power through those dicks.
Yeah.
Power through the rest of the intro. So all the
Because
thoughts.
FC is playing in 30 minutes, and we have.
We got a few.
Well, I mean, I think if we pound away at the dicks, if we just like beat them really hard, we can get through.
That's it.
This.
All right. We should probably throw the disclaimer in because this is going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, so all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with. And I'm speaking for Julie and myself.
Yeah.
Not full-time jobs, part-time jobs, higher gravity. If you want to get at us, you can find out at the end of the pod, or you can read the show notes. Go and read the show notes. Every now and then, Julia puts something interesting in the show notes. Now, the Gnarly Gnome and Jason can speak for themselves.
It's all valid.
Whatever entity they
It's all valid
feel like
and
speaking
will.
for.
All of my thoughts and opinions are very representative of the Bay Horse Cafe.
Okay.
All right, that's fair.
All right.
Yeah, and for
All of
me,
them.
pretty much Eat a Bag of Dicks just pretty much encompasses everything you're going to get out of it.
That's it.
All right.
Need a bag of dicks.
It is the alpha and the omega for me.
Okay.
So thank you to everyone for making us the #1 craft beer podcast that talks about Cincinnati craft beer content. Thank you, and we would not be a good craft beer podcast or like those fake-ass ones out there that don't actually have beer. We have beer. I'm going to start with our guest, Jason. Jason, what you drinking?
What? Oh, I'm drinking the Kolsch, the Luna.
Luna something or other. It's by Wolf's Ridge. It is a Kolsch with lemon drop hops because
Yes.
I'm drinking the exact same thing.
Yes, so
Okay.
Julia recommended this one to me, and it's delicious. I am really enjoying it.
Excellent. And so I am having the West Coast from
50
Half
West?
Acre.
Oh, that's right. You got another one. Is it Half Acre or Other Half? No, they ran out of Other Half. It's Half Acre.
This is Half Acre.
I don't know.
It's like a loom some shit or something.
I'll
It's good.
check. I'll check Untapped when I'm doing the show notes, and I'll figure it out.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and Gnome's just drinking water right now.
I have no idea what I'm drinking. I have no idea. It's good. It's fruity. It's good. Pog.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
that's
Pog
what it is.
from,
What is that? What is
It's
that?
Pog.
What was
Northern
that?
Row.
Yes.
It was
yes.
Northern Row wheat.
something.
Is it their wheat?
Slammer.
Look
Pog.
at us.
Slammer.
We have.
It's a great beer.
We have 3 main shows to talk about, and then we have 3 that are going to be kind of quick touches because, we're touching
Quick
dicks, we're
touch.
touching shows,
Yeah.
we're touching all kinds of stuff tonight. So let's see if everyone has at least heard of some of these shows. We found one. This came out July 21st, so that's why it's going to be kind of just a real quick one. It's on YouTube. One Beer at a Time podcast where they tried some beers from High Grain Brewing. We have, as I flip my notebook to the other thing, very nice. Barstool Perspective from this past Friday
Yep.
with Brett and Mike. We have 2 episodes that we're going to do quick touches on YouTube.
Quit saying
Half-ass-
quick touches. It's
Okay. Why?
creepy. It's creepy.
How's it creepy? We have dicks
Yeah,
all
it's
over the
creepy.
table.
I kind of like it.
Come on.
There are a lot of dicks on the table.
Half-ass beer review. They talked about a Streetside and a Third Eye beer, so we're going to mention those. Is that better?
That's
Are you
better.
happy now?
That's better,
Okay.
yeah.
And then Gnome, both of your shows, Cincy Brewcast with Happy 2.
I had 2 shows.
You had 2 shows. You did so
Look
good.
at me.
Look at you.
Look
It's like
at
you're an
you.
actual podcaster. And Cincy Brewcast, or not Cincy Brewcast, the Weekly
The
Pint.
Weekly Pints.
Yes.
Point.
The Weekly Point.
Cheers.
Whenever we say
We
a
all-
podcast name wrong, we cheers and
All
we
right.
drink.
Everyone's taking a drink.
All right.
And-
What do you say we just go from the oldest to the newest to make things easy? All right. One Beer at a Time podcast, episode 111. This was on YouTube. High Grain. It said brewery, and the logo wasn't quite the High Grain Brewing logo, but they had the Vienna Lager and the Heffa, and they were High Grain's beers.
Yeah.
These are 2 guys that get beer, they try them, they review it, and my first thought,
Like me and Marco.
like you
Yeah.
and
2
Marco,
guys, we get
exactly.
beer.
And you
Yeah.
talk about it,
Yeah, we get
Yeah.
beer.
They're from St. Louis. I loved this series, or I say series, the singular episode that I found because my first thought was,
Could be a
it's,
series.
it's 2 guys
Didn't start.
drinking beer. How much are they going to know about it? They were really well versed.
I loved watching the medley
In-
of this episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know this show.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
I'll put a link in the show,
Show
notes
notes?
as well.
In the show
Absolutely.
notes.
I
All
always
right.
put stuff in the show notes.
Okay.
No.
And it needs to say, click here.
Yes.
Gnome. Right
I
here.
could do that. I can absolutely
Gnome.
do that. They talked about
Quote.
They talked about how German beers are more for drinking, where other beers can be used for like cooking and doing other things with.
Ooh, I like that.
Right, and I absolutely loved it. They said that the Vienna Lager would be an excellent spritz on like ribs, but
No,
then they said
no,
but then they said,
Spritz.
but I don't want to do that because then it's kind of wasting the beer. I want to
Right.
drink it. And that was an incredible
So-
thing that we haven't really heard a lot in other episodes that we've listened to of any show.
I get where they were going with this, where they're talking about the affordability of some of these macro lagers or some of the Mexican lagers versus, a $10 or $12 6-pack of beer. I do think that if you have the opportunity to get some of these craft beers, that cooking with them, you just gotta, in a way, take one for the team. You just got to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, because if you're cooking with crummy anything, when you cook it, you're just baking it down to its essence. So
Right,
if it's
right.
crap, it's just going
More-
to be really
more
intense
crummy.
crap.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
No, I can understand their hesitation with they're not local. They're not here all the time. One of the guys comes to Cincinnati, it seems like on a fairly regular basis. But when you don't have access to that kind of stuff and you have one 6-pack and you're going, I could use one whole can of this to cook with.
That could
or
be a
I
struggle.
could drink and enjoy all 6 of these beers. Yeah, I can absolutely see how
Where-
that's something that you really have to pick and choose. Do you take one for the team or do you just say, I'm going to try to find
I think
something
accessibility
local, cheaper.
is
Yeah.
absolutely part of the puzzle. Like, as an example, when I was brewing, every year when our Oktoberfest would come out, I would take a covered electric skillet with a cover on it, and I would take sausages and I would braise the sausages in our Oktoberfest. Well, if you don't have that afforded to you where you live, and the best thing you're going to find to braise your sausages is like Killian's Irish Red, well, I guess go ahead and do it. It's not the same. You know?
Yeah.
But isn't that part of the fun? Is improvising? You know,
Sure.
kind of,
Oh, sure,
and
absolutely.
definitely you're gonna kiss some frogs. You know, before you find the prince. But
Sure,
you know,
absolutely.
maybe you riff on it, right?
Sure.
That's kind of how you make
Yeah.
it your recipe, as opposed to just following, you know, step 1, 2, 3, and you're just doing it by rote.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, absolutely. They had a lot of really good insight on both smell and taste profiles for the two beers that they
Yep.
were drinking. Very high praise for High Grain, I'll say brewery, which is how they were saying it, but it's brewing. And
Geta.
And
They had
Geta.
very high praise
yes,
for Geta.
Yes,
Yeah, of
apparently,
course.
I believe it was, and I can't read my handwriting right now. Jimbo's the one that came to Cincinnati. He brought home 10 cases of Geta and
Listen
2
this week.
6-packs of Cincinnati beer. So I think the ratio
definitely
might need
off.
to be flipped a little bit.
You need to-
yes.
there's a little-
Yes.
I don't even think it needs to necessarily be even. However, only going home with 2 6-pack, go home
Yeah,
with a case of something.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
Still
4
like-
6-packs of something.
Do you consider Geta a tubular meat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just asking.
wow, okay.
Okay.
It comes in a tube.
Right. And it,
How do you
and
buy
it
it?
has, meat in it. Have you had, so since you're still
Okay.
newer to Cincinnati, have you had Geta?
I have. I think I've had it in something, but not enough to actually
Okay, so
appreciate
I
it. Yeah,
missed.
so
I
yeah,
missed the first.
Yeah.
I missed.
Yeah, I need to be
No,
immersed.
but where you're originally from, you had
Scrapple.
boudin.
yeah.
What?
So is it similar to Boudin?
What?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Hang on.
It's just something else
rewind.
weird.
It's the local.
Rewind.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
What is? What? What is it?
Well, you make boudin balls, right? So
Okay. Yeah, of
Ooh,
course
balls
you
and
do.
dicks.
Yeah,
Does it work well?
It could
with
be a sausage.
chips?
I
Basically,
actually
it's a
haven't tried
sausage.
that yet. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. The balls and dicks thing. There is an obvious connection there.
Absolutely.
You know,
Still
flavors
confused.
be damned. It's just, but yeah.
Still confused. Somebody help me out over here.
Basically, it's a sausage that incorporates rice in the casing.
Kind of back to one beer at a time. This was a really cool episode because, again, my expectation was just a random, group of guys talking about beer and their insights, their familiarity, their level of understanding the beer styles was incredibly refreshing. So absolutely loved to listen to them. I do have a multiple choice question.
Okay.
Just because this is from like last week and we didn't get around to it. How many cheese conies did Jimbo eat while he was in Cincinnati? Is it A, way too many? Is it B, only 3? Or is it C, 8?
Julier's a D. I always bring the D.
Well, I think Jason brought the D today.
Oh,
like
Jason.
quite
He
literally.
did bring the D.
Actually,
It's all
Quite
table of
literally.
D.
Thank you.
The whole
Thank you.
table full of D, delicious.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
It covers the table.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
we
a lot
have
of real
salty
estate.
D, sweet and smoky D. We have hot and spicy D. It is so good. Anyway, Marco,
Julier's a D. Is it 12, Julia? But
that's a good number of conies.
but it
12
actually
Ds?
it was
What?
only 10.
Oh man! All right, let's go ahead and move on to the 2 other YouTube short videos.
Sensations,
These were,
yeah.
sensations.
Sensations,
These were
yeah.
each under 9 minutes long. They're both by the Half-Ass Beer Review. One of them, we're just going to kind of blend these together. One of them is
We're gonna cuvee
We're
the
gonna
2
cuvee
episodes.
the Oh, I like that. I like that. One is Strawberry Mighty Tasty PBJ. I'm sorry. Sour
Peanut butter and
ale.
jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly from
Yeah, I
Streetside.
think that's what that means.
And the other episode was the Blair Witch Project Blonde Ales from Third Eye Brewing.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yep.
What's that mean?
We'll get to it.
Okay,
We'll
all
let
right.
you know what it
Okay,
means.
I'm hanging
so
on.
the PBJ Sour Ale from Streetside.
Hanging on by my dicks.
Is peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in their top 5 sandwiches? They had a big old discussion.
We're not going to tell
about
you. You have
sandwiches.
to go
No,
and
you gotta-
watch.
you gotta
but
watch and
they
find
bring
out.
that up,
That's a
whether
great
it's in their
question.
top 5
Yes.
sandwiches.
But it is
Gnome,
good.
give me 2 of your top 5 sandwiches.
Okay, 2.
2.
Yeah, just 2.
Peanut butter,
Crunchy or smooth?
Just peanut butter.
peanut butter,
Crunchy or
crunchy.
smooth?
But I have this thing that I do that's a little weird. and maybe we can talk about it.
Yeah, blue
I
carousel.
mean, we're talking about
Nope.
dicks. I don't think that
Nope.
anything
on
you
a
say about
sandwich, salami
Oh,
What?
What?
and peanut butter.
What?
It's incredible. The saltiness of the
saltiness.
salami. Oh, it's actually freaking good. And I know it's weird. I know it's strange, but
Okay.
whatever.
I mean, whatever works.
It's unconventional.
That's up there.
For sure.
But then I go get just straight up ham, mustard, pickles.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Sometime. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, top 2 sandwiches?
Hit you with a dick.
Well, I guess I gotta ask the audience here, but does a po' boy count
Yes.
as a okay?
Yes.
You
Then
can't actually ask the audience.
I can't?
Because they can't respond. It's a podcast.
it's not a phone a friend or I can't do
No.
that.
I mean, we
okay.
could phone somebody.
We can-
Okay.
yeah.
Should we call somebody?
No, we should not call
We
him.
Can I
did
call somebody
earlier.
in New Orleans? Yeah. Then I got to go with a fried shrimp po' boy.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
That is a sandwich.
And what about number 2?
I mean, can I just go straight up PB&J?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
there's
follow
nothing
a
wrong
distant
with that.
second after a fried shrimp po' boy. But
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with the shrimp poor boy. That's a fantastic choice.
Mm-hmm.
You went PB&J. I'm going to add the other enormous New Orleans pub style
These are like the
sandwich.
best crunching chips. Like, I mean, they're thick enough to where you get that good just.
Big, thick
Oh
dicks.
my god!
That,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that juicy roast beef po' boy with that Leidenheimer bread is amazing.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's fair. I guess it's my turn.
At some point,
Yeah,
Mark
it's
is going
yours.
to take me to New Orleans, and we're going to
Oh, yeah.
get a real po' boy.
Hell yeah.
Maybe we should do a podcast from there. We'll just
go.
Oh hell
Yeah.
yeah! On
Charles,
location.
put it on the company
100%.
card.
100%.
Hit pause. Let's go.
I know people.
That's a write off, right?
That sounds like a threat. Hey, I know people. Ham, turkey, bacon, and Swiss. Maybe
Ooh.
some honey mustard on it, grilled, preferably.
Okay.
Nice.
But, I
Hot
mean,
sandwich.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
And then is a hot dog a sandwich?
The eternal
Everyone's
question.
face just kind of.
No.
I was saying that as a joke. Everyone's face
No.
just dropped. And I think my second is. I think it's just going to be a just Concord grape PB&J crunchy peanut
God.
butter.
Really? Okay.
I mean, that's
Ah.
what. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I still respect you.
A little. Just a little bit less now.
Just
Let's see.
17%.
Apparently, according to the Half-Ass Beer Review, hard pours are the only proper way to pour a beer.
Yeah. Gotta go hard.
And the way that you drink them, you take a little sip and then you take a big
Big
sip.
sip.
Little
So
sip,
when you
big
watch
sip.
them, yes, that's when they go to taste, they take little sip and they like okay, and then they take a big sip and then they give their comment after
After,
a
yes.
little sip and then a big sip.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that? What's the?
No, that's a good tasting technique.
Yeah, I think
Get a
some.
little
I
bit
think that-
to clear it all out, and then you.
Yeah.
And I think the idea
Shove your
is
face in it.
basically a lot of times initially you don't know how to interpret some smells, tastes, and flavors, and then after you take the first one, you acclimate yourself. You take the second one, and then you're bringing it all out.
Right, like the smaller sip, you can kind of get some of the aroma like up into like your sinuses, your nose. You can kind of get a little more of the aroma through the drink, and then when the bigger one, it's almost all just the flavor and like what you're getting in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Possibly behind the concept, maybe.
Potentially.
Potentially.
They say they don't rate beers, but if they did, they would rate this beer
I love that.
And I'm
Yeah,
not going to say what they rated. They're like, now we don't rate beer on this channel. That's not what we do. But if we did, this
If
beer
I was
would
going
get
to.
A.
That's right.
Did they talk about that?
Oh, OJ. I didn't do it, but if I did.
But if I did, here's how I would have done it.
And they closed out this
Screw
show.
that guy.
They closed
Yes,
out
for
this
the
show
record.
with saying, kind of even more than a rating, would they get into an unmarked van for this beer? Yes or no?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey.
if you think about it, that's a pretty good test of how good is this beer.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe.
I would get an unmarked van for.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
For dicks.
For dicks.
100%.
Dicks.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my
Unmarked
God.
bags of
Yeah.
dicks. Like
I didn't think so 3
Still
weeks ago.
jumping in the van.
But now, unmarked
yeah.
van with dicks.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
in.
Hell yeah.
if you're gonna be all
hey,
over
we got
dicks, you-
dicks in the van. I mean,
Right.
shit,
I mean, you probably want as least identification on the vehicle as
have you
possible.
seen my unmarked
right?
van? We have dicks.
Oh, okay.
I'm game. Yeah.
Yeah. Are the
I'm jumping
windows
in.
tinted? Yeah.
Wait, not.
Yeah.
Oh no, not those.
I do, even though this was a sub 9-minute episode, I do have a sip and a sniff count.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. In this episode, they took a total of 11 sniffs and they took 9 sips.
All right.
So that is a total
20.
of 20 countables.
40 ounces.
Exactly. So we do a drinking game
But you with
on,
your
on
math.
the show. I know. I'm very proud of him. Where for every countable, so a sip, a sniff, a burp, something that we can kind of track
It's
during
different
the
for
shows.
different
Yeah.
shows.
It's different for different shows. For every countable, if you're playing the game, you take a 2-ounce drink.
Somewhere,
So
somewhere
you're-
in the world,
somewhere
people
in the
are
world,
counting
someone said-
how many times we made dick jokes,
Yes.
and they're drinking
And
because
they're
of that.
dead.
Yeah.
Dead within the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, and I'm not responsible for that. But yeah. Put that
Brian
in.
Mike Morgan.
We definitely say, please don't actually try to do this because you may die. and
Last
that
dick
we-
jokes.
we're
Put that
not,
in the
you know.
waiver. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is 40 ounces
Big
if
fan
you're
of
doing our
dick
drinking
jokes.
games. 2.5 pints during this 9-minute
Big dick
episode.
fan.
That's quite an achievement.
The second half-ass beer review YouTube show we're going to talk about briefly the Blair Witch Project Blonde Ales from Third Eye Brewing. They made these for Horror Hound Weekend. There were 2 of them made, a chocolate fudge and vanilla, and then graham cracker and marshmallow. Let's see, the Blair Witch Project started his love of found footage. There was a hell of a crispy crack for the first can. There we go. I was waiting for the cred. Hell of a chip crunch on that one. I love it. And I mean, this was a sub 8-minute episode, so the only thing that I'm going to say about this one is he missed a huge opportunity. He tried both of them. He did the little sip, big sip, smelled them both, and was like, "Oh, I like this one. If I don't rate them, but if I did, it would be this or that."
If you, okay,
I know. I love it.
struggle with that.
Okay, so the 2 beers, the 2 blondes, chocolate fudge and vanilla, graham cracker and marshmallow. What did he not do that he should have done
Cuvée.
to make
Always Cuvée.
to make a s'mores inspired beer?
I don't know
It
how
was
you
right
fucked that
there.
up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cuvée everything.
cuvee all the
Always.
things.
Yeah, I was-
Try mixing stuff, but yeah, I'm like, oh my god.
If you've got
s'mores
2
is
beers
gonna be
open
up.
at the same time,
Just
put them
a little
together.
bit. Exactly.
Why not?
Exactly. So we're gonna take a couple points off of the half-ass beer. I don't rate podcasts, but if I rated this one
If I was going to rate you,
out of 1 to 5, I give this a 2.5 because he didn't. There weren't many sips or sniffs in this episode. 5 sips, 4 sniffs. It's only 9
9
countables,
countables.
18 ounces, so just a little over a pint in under 8 minutes. Doable
Yes.
if you're trying, if you're really making an effort for that. Some of our glasses are empty. We have 3 shows left to talk about.
3? Okay.
Barstool Perspectives, and then the 2 Gnome shows.
Okay.
So what do you
it's
say
like kind of one show.
Yeah, we'll blend
It's all
it
the same
together.
thing.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
What do you say we take? We're only at 31 minutes. The FC Cincinnati game is starting, so we're going to be.
That's soccer, right?
It is. It is.
Go my
It's,
favorite sports team.
It's in the
It'll
yeah.
be,
Have a good
be
match.
fantastic.
Major League Soccer.
Match,
It's,
right?
It's the
match.
League Cup. Yes, a
Match. Have a good
job.
match.
Good job. We'll take a quick break, and we will be
Right back.
We're almost done with the bag of hot and spicy dicks because holy crap, those are so
They're
good.
delicious.
They are tasty.
We still have 3 more bags of dicks here, and that is phenomenal. We will see if they last until the end of this recording.
See,
FC is playing. We are going to be kind of slightly distracted between the dicks, the game, the beer. We all have fresh beers in our glasses. Marco, do you want to start? What you drinking?
Yeah, I got a new one. It's called Head Hunter,
Oh, never heard of
which
it. Who are they
fits
from?
which fits
Oh, it
with
does.
the Dick's theme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely does.
That's from,
I am hunting down dicks, so I am a headhunter.
Yeah.
and it's from Fathead's Brewery.
Oh,
also goes
man.
along with the Dick theme.
Awesome.
are they new?
I think so.
Fatheads?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff
the
is
area.
it's delicious though. Beer
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Gnome, what are you drinking?
I'm looking it up right now.
You still don't know. All right, so Jason, throw it over to
again.
you.
Yeah. So I went over to the Northern Row. Is it the Pilsner? The
Hellas.
Yeah,
The Hellas.
Hellas Lager, yeah.
And it is delightful. I think I had this before. It was one of my earlier Cincinnati introductory beers. And,
Nice.
it's nice to
Northern
come back
Road's a
to it.
good place. Nice
Yeah.
traditional stuff.
And good people when I
put
was
your
there.
teeth
And
on,
and when I was there, they were very good to me.
They've always been good
It
to
was.
us.
I figured out my beer.
Yeah, what'd you have?
It's Spruce Crispy.
Oh,
Have you-
the
Yeah, the
spruce
spruce
tip
tip
lager.
from- Did
you try it?
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah, it's an amber lager.
Amber lager. Okay.
I haven't tried it yet.
Okay. Well,
Is it?
I don't know. I haven't had it,
You-
so I don't know. Marco.
You try it?
I have not.
What? All right, hang on.
What? All right.
hang on.
What you got here? What you
All
got?
right. live tasting from the Gnarly Gnome. All right.
Oh, yeah, we
Clear
get
the palate.
sniffs.
All right, yeah, here we go. All right. Sniff 1.
2 ounces.
Okay.
Okay.
Another 2 ounces.
I don't get a lot of spruce.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't get
Does spruce fall
any
off
spruce.
in beers?
Everything falls off at some point.
You know what I mean. Like,
Wow.
someone.
Dick joke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's
All right, here we go.
everything is a
here's,
joke.
here's,
All right.
here's the sip.
While you're sipping, I'm drinking a hazy IPA from Other Half. I don't remember what it's called, but that's okay. Yes.
No, it's still there.
Okay.
It's like earthy. It's not like over the top like spruce like we.
like what you
hops.
typically think of, like a
No,
spruce
it's
sip
like-
IPA
it's like-
kind of thing.
Oh, that's good.
nice. I'm going to start talking about Bruce Guy's Booze News Barstool Perspective
Oh, so much to talk about there.
from August the 8th of 2024. This was a more off-the-rails episode than a lot of their other shows.
Was it on time?
Yes,
okay.
it was on time. They didn't-
Because it's not always. And
It's not always there when you call, but it's always
a
on
little
time.
upset about that still.
Yeah, same. Although I didn't have my notifications on, so I take some of the blame.
Nope.
No?
If you
Okay.
say you're going to be live at a certain time, you should always be live at that time. What? What? Always.
I'm not even going to comment on that one, Mister. I'm going to go live at 10:30 instead of 9:30.
I know you were there waiting
Kids.
at 9:30, weren't you yesterday,
Oh,
Jason?
absolutely.
Jason's like
100%.
9:30. What the fuck?
The queen arrives at precisely the moment she's supposed to.
Molson Coors is up 5%, but what the hell are they actually selling? What are people drinking from Molson Coors?
I'm not taking any more investing advice from
This isn't
Bruce guys.
investing. This is just
They're always trying to give investing advice that's not investing advice. I'm sorry.
How is talking about sales numbers investing
No, but
advice?
you know they've kind of poked at it here and there. They're trying to give.
They have.
Trying to get you to buy into
They're
Molson
trying to.
Coors?
They're
Okay.
trying to transition into some kind of like, investing show. I get it.
Well,
I see where they're at.
They transitioned that
Sam Adams is
into-
not up or down. It's just right where it was.
All right.
Just saying.
Well, they transitioned that investment news, which I don't think is investment news at all, into the best part about macro beer are the labels,
That's
which I can see.
okay.
There are
No.
some.
I think if you're looking at them strictly from a marketing angle, and Jason, you could talk about this, is that if there's nothing to differentiate your yellow fizzy beer other than your marketing, then that may be the case. I think in many cases, your yellow fizzy beer can be distinct. However, it could still be hard to pick out in, say,
I was going to say that, but I was chewing on
a-
this.
You know what that reminds me
in a
of?
panel of, let's say 4 of them blind tasting.
Thank you.
Yes. Jason, any thoughts?
It goes back to are they a public company? I'm assuming they.
All of them are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got to come out with something new, even if it's not really interesting or good. So,
Do you? Do you? So, like, Sam Adams is weird. Sam Adams is a public company, and there are a bunch of people, including myself, that own a piece of Sam Adams. But we don't have
Which
any
part?
kind of small, like, minority, like, piece of something.
Well,
I
if
don't
it was a
actually
person-
understand. But we have no voting rights at all. Anybody
That's
that owns
true.
Sam Adams has no voting rights. It's Jim Cook.
Yeah.
He still is like he's got all the voting rights. Like, he just does what he wants to do. That's different. And so you can still be public and still just give the middle finger to everybody else that has some kind of say and like we think you should do this. I'm like,
Well-
yeah, you're probably right, but I'm not going to do that.
But
And I like that.
what happens is, and sort of to bring it back to
Oh,
to incorporate the episode, is that Molson Coors was up as a brand or as a company 5%. Then they discussed the absolute decimation of craft beer SKUs by the Kroger company. I think it was
screw Kroger.
what was it? Was it 10,000 SKUs?
Unless they
Julie?
wanna
What
carry
was my
dicks.
notes when you have a minute? I think it was an enormous amount of SKUs that were just decreased. And typically in the winter for the sets,
lot.
what it is it's just replacing okay, Bud Light Lime is sort of phasing out. We're going to
It's now
replace
Bud
it with
Light
Clamato.
Blueberry or whatever. Yeah.
The segment that they talked about that was growing the biggest portion was non-alcoholic, which is outrageous. The addition of non-alcoholic SKUs when the actual representation of non-alcoholic, even though it's on a meteoric rise, still only represents a fraction, 2% of all craft beer categories. Craft beer itself represents almost 20% of all beer markets, or all beer combined.
Yeah.
And yes, it may be stagnant or maybe slightly declining by, say, 2%. To give non-alcoholic beer that much space in a Kroger set seems completely out of balance and just outright ridiculous. I mean, you know, I want to incorporate you in here, Jason, because, I mean, with marketing background and you're trying to fit your product into a market and you hear numbers like that, is like, what sense does that make from a giant retailer to make a decision on such a niche product like that? It's not that you make potato chips.
Yeah.
But potato chips aren't niche. It's just, you know, what are your thoughts on that? Because it seems so ridiculous.
It's a big question.
It is a big question.
Yeah, and I can only respond in my little tiny dick's way, which is, you know, a lot of these big, yeah. Well, you know,
yourself more credit than
like
that.
we said,
But
you know,
we love it. It's
you're
a
making dicks
beautiful
to get bigger,
But you know
right?
what? You have gotten yourself into some pretty spectacular accounts, some pretty spectacular places. So.
Right, but these, you know, a lot of these accounts that I'm encountering.
Get your dicks in my face.
Yeah, well, they
important.
have been for the last, I would say, half hour or so, and I've never seen a happier face.
longer than that.
Yeah. But you know, a lot of these guys are risk averse, you know, and they're not willing to take chances, and so they're, you know, and they're susceptible to the winds of opinion, just like we all are. And we've seen what happened, you know, with Bud Light a year or so ago, where, you know, people make decisions sometimes rashly. And I've started to see it coming from the wine industry. You know, this whole sober curious thing, and a lot of the wine industry people are in a panic about, this next generation is not drinking. They're you know, smoking weed more, or they're doing the non-alcoholic. So. You know, maybe it's just a temporary blip where people are just kind of freaking out for a moment.
This stuff is now available, so I'm going to go all in on this, and then they'll kind of normalize and figure out what.
I mean, I get people are buying non-alcoholic products to drink at home, and that's, you know, I don't have any problem with that. The thing that I'm looking at as a person who's trying to understand the overall market and look for sales and increases and year over year and, you know, all this data, it's like, yeah, non-alcoholic is...
Make good shit, and people will consume good shit. That's all you have to do. It is that simple. Make something good, and people will consume it.
I think from a package standpoint, yes. I think
from everything. Make good.
I agree with that.
Make good. And people will
buy
want it.
People will buy the hype stuff, even if it's not good, for that tiny little blip. But if you want to stick around, you got to make good shit. You have to, like dicks.
Product.
I mean, you have got to have something in this caliber to stick around, in my opinion, in the potato chip world here in Cincinnati and beyond.
Yep.
And I think one thing that's happening too is alcohol in general is and again, I'm coming at it from the wine industry, but it encompasses all forms of alcohol. Is, you know, the United States government is kind of on the cusp of saying that alcohol of any form, there are studies that have come out, the World Health Organization are saying that no alcohol of any type is healthy for you.
They're all missing the point. Make something that tastes good, that people relate to, that like feels good. You make people feel good, and that's all you have to do.
I think that's what Mick Ultra... They didn't do the first, but they did the second.
Yeah,
I think they made it relatable to people.
Can't skip that.
Now, and
It has to
they
be
may
both.
end up falling out of the top two, and they may end
And,
up getting into, relegated to a budget brand, much like Bud Light is going to do.
They can eat
over
a
the
bag
next-
of dicks, and it might be
That's
it might
great.
make
Yeah.
them feel good.
And we mean that in the negative sense.
I do.
Yeah.
That's an insult.
Anymore, now we have to clarify if we're saying eat a bag of dicks as an insult or
Yes.
as like a no, you
a
really
flag
need
we
to
can
eat a bag
hold
of
up.
dicks.
Like
Dicks
this
goes
is an
both ways.
insult versus a compliment.
Yeah.
So for those of you who didn't listen to the special podcast with
Bonus,
Jason,
yeah.
the
Oh, we didn't
bonus,
specify dicks. We didn't do that yet.
No, there was a whole earlier. There was
Yeah.
early
Yeah,
days.
It's a whole
we-
different show.
Yeah,
It was early
absolutely.
days.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
go back and listen to that one.
but Jason's background is in the wine industry,
Oh, okay.
which actually segues perfectly
Perfect, yes.
into one of the segments that Bruce Guys talked about here.
Yes. But before we get to that
You
segment,
guys-
I'm
Everybody trying to
ready.
get things on some kind of track
It's,
here.
we're trying. Normally it's me. Marco, I'm impressed. Thank
Yeah,
you
that
for
was-
actually
that's
trying
impressive.
to. No kidding.
Shots.
It must be.
Speaking of,
It must be the dicks.
it might be the dicks. Yes. Speaking of non-alcoholic beverages, in Manchester, which is a small community within the University of Kentucky,
Yeah.
Whoa, whoa,
the
whoa,
only
slow down. Manchester,
yes,
Kentucky.
yes,
Okay.
Manchester, UK, which means it exists in the University of Kentucky.
Okay. Just making
Right.
sure I understand. Okay.
The only non-alcoholic bar is closing.
The only
Is anyone surprised?
The
Is it a bar?
No,
Yeah.
bullshit. There's a bunch of non-alcoholic bars. We call them coffee shops.
Yeah.
We call them
Libraries.
Starbucks. We call them
Libraries. Not wrong.
my mom's house.
Not wrong.
We call them Panera.
You know what you can't call them?
Okay.
Churches. Because Catholic churches, they have wine.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Some
And
places have a rat skeleton.
That's true. That's
yeah,
true.
no kidding, no kidding. And apparently the
McDonald's?
online reviews of this place were absolutely phenomenal.
Taco
Yeah.
Bell.
They were great.
Taco Bell is my
It's like,
favorite.
I met-
non-alcoholic
Good one.
bar.
I met someone there, and they neither got funnier
Ah,
or
that's not
attractive.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
I got
It's
drunk at
so
Taco
weird.
Bell one time. That's
The
not
bottom
true.
line might be sober bars don't work. People don't sit at a sober bar, non-alcoholic bar, and consume and stick
Yeah.
around the same way that you do at a place that does
Yeah.
serve
You need
alcoholic beverages.
you need non-alcoholic options at a bar
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
sure.
because
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are there because they're with their friends. You don't need a bar
That is all.
that nobody can get drunk.
Right, right.
Nobody's
exactly.
going to come. You can have
It's the birthday girl.
You can have a non-alcoholic bar that has alcoholic options for people. That could be a thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. To keep going,
Do we sing "Happy Birthday" or something?
we can.
We can.
Do you want to?
Ready?
I'm bad at singing.
One. That's part of the fun. 1, 2, 3.
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
To you.
Happy birthday, dear Rachel.
Happy birthday to you. To
Happy birthday. She's like, why did I come into this place? This was a terrible
I
idea.
immediately
choice.
regret this decision.
save some room.
Oh my goodness. Kroger is cutting a shit ton of craft SKUs, and no one is happy about that
Yeah,
except for maybe
fuck Kroger.
Fuck Kroger.
Fuck Kroger.
If you are able to shop somewhere else, please do so.
Yeah.
But if it's the only place that you are able to shop, I mean,
You're going to have a
you
shitty
gotta,
selection.
You gotta have a bad.
You're
yeah.
trying to be too. Fuck Kroger. Fuck Kroger. Don't go there.
All right. Apparently, non-alcoholic beers are gateways to alcoholic beers. Which what?
That
Not
explains
true.
it. That
I don't
explains
think
it.
that's in any way true.
Yeah.
The flavor of non-alcoholic beers, if I tasted that, I would have never gotten into actual beer. Like I would have gone,
No.
this is
Yeah.
terrible.
I'm going to be honest
I'm not
with you.
Gonna,
I'm not sure I've ever had a non. What does it taste like?
not
Malt.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like
yeah.
malty malt.
They're-
And not like good malt, like bad malt.
I think it's important to give credit to people, to companies like that who are trying, right?
Sure,
Because nobody's going to
absolutely.
step up and it's going to be perfect right out of the
Right,
gate,
absolutely,
right? So at least they're kind of trying to introduce the concept, and for people who are trying to make lifestyle changes
Sure,
and all that sort of
sure.
thing, I think it's
I mean,
important
it's
to have
like-
it out there. But
Athletic is huge. I have never enjoyed a single one that I've tried, but I mean, I don't know. Some
It's
people
fi-
do.
it's fine.
It's fine,
Yeah.
but it's still not that flavor profile that I'm looking for.
I still honestly believe that the growth that market is having is not because people are buying it or getting it directly sold to them to their house. I believe that it's the bars, restaurants, the breweries are actually buying it to serve as their non-alcoholic options, and that's where the growth in the category is coming from.
Agreed.
I think it's just simply I get a couple of cases, every few weeks to make sure I have an offering.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of being wrong, is it okay to drink non-alcoholic beer and drive?
No.
Okay.
No, it is
Right,
okay.
'cause I've always
it is okay
wondered
to
that.
drink non-alcoholic beer and drive. It's not okay to have an open container of non-alcoholic beer in your car. and drive.
Even though it's not alcohol, it has the same amount. It's not
fine.
a little less alcohol than
it's
kombucha.
Fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's just,
You're asking for trouble.
problems.
Yeah. I would agree.
Don't be an asshole.
I would agree with that.
So, from what I understand,
And this
It
is not
doesn't-
legal advice or law advice or anything like that.
I'm not a lawyer
this
or
is-
you're a lawyer.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're actually impaired or not. If a police officer pulls you over and he looks at you and says, "I think you're impaired,"
That's true. You're
guess
impaired.
what?
Yeah.
You are. It doesn't matter
That's
what
it.
you do.
Period.
Yeah, there's
That
no
is
way
it.
around it. You're
That is
impaired.
it.
That's very true.
It's his
All they have
judgment.
to do is say, you know what? I think you're impaired.
Yep.
That's it, and then you're done.
Yep.
One of the moments that went off
So
the rails.
don't drink
Just don't do
beer
it.
while
Yeah.
you're driving.
One of the
Stupid.
off the rails moments was comparing the spirits industry to love seats.
Okay.
Well, watch and find out what
yes,
that's about.
yes, that is
Missed
definitely
that.
something that you should absolutely.
Yeah.
It involved dicks.
It did absolutely.
As
did.
every love
As
seat does.
really,
every love
yeah.
seat does, should. I don't
Should,
know.
yeah.
Maybe. Outback is moving to an only bloomin' onions and beer model.
I love that.
So
I
what's
think that I'm
happening
okay
is,
with
I
that.
mean,
I
it's
think
a
I'm okay.
it's a fine strategy where basically what you're doing is you're paring down your menu to just playing the hits. You know,
Just
it's like
everything,
Yes,
everything
yes.
that we want.
it's like a reunion tour.
I need
you
steak
know.
too. Are they getting rid of steak?
Do you,
It's-
do you
it's
get
a
to
very
pick the
little-
beer, or do they pick the beer for
I don't
you?
know. They did not go into detail.
Yeah.
If it's
So,
cheap
if
enough,
it's all Foster's and bloomin' onions.
if
Yeah.
it's cheap enough, I don't care.
Sure,
If you
right,
give me
right.
like steak tips, even like just give me
Just
like
the
Yeah,
tips.
you want the
and
tips.
bloomin'
Just the tips,
onion,
yeah.
and Foster's. I'm fine.
There you go. All
okay
right.
with
Are you okay if they took away the bread, or do you have to have the bread?
Ooh, that rye bread is pretty damn tasty.
Yeah, it's good, but I take it away. It's fine.
Oh wow!
I prefer it to
fine.
stay,
That's a
but
hot
yeah, I
take
think
right there.
that depending on what else their limited menu has, we'll see.
It's, bloomin' onions,
Pretty damn good.
pretty good.
All right, I have two other notes: a sip count and a multiple choice question, because
Okay.
this is getting a little long. So
Yeah,
and we have
that's what
two
she
more
said.
shows after this.
Shout out to
I mean,
Dick's.
shout out to Dick's
Shout out to
potato
Dick's.
chips.
Yep. It's
The
getting a little
perfect way
long.
to get long and to enjoy a bag. I don't know. I was trying to make that work, and I don't know if it actually did or not.
Well, we can work on it.
You know,
Yeah.
we'll,
No, it
we'll,
tastes a
we'll
little
work on
long.
this.
Work on dicks.
Work those dicks.
Let's see. One of the notes I have: California or parts of California are working on banning self-checkouts, which
Yeah,
Mike is
fuck
very
off.
happy
Yeah.
about.
Get rid of them.
Yeah.
And Brew Sky's Booze News does not condone violence, which
They
that
do.
part of
They
the
do.
Oh,
They've both of them have punched me in the stomach at different times.
Well, when it's individualized like that, I don't think it counts. But as like the business,
Yeah, but if they all like together make up the show and they've all hit me, like, I think
Maybe.
you condone it.
Let's
Maybe.
go back just a second.
Okay.
This
Back
is
to-
going to actually make this
Okay.
makes sense.
discussion a little
Is this
bit
back
longer.
before the
but-
dicks?
So Brett and Mike were discussing the fact that they felt like wine prices for for domestic wines are artificially inflated and are a barrier to entry for the average working folk.
Okay. What's that mean?
And they were saying that wines from outside of the United States, you know, Italy, France, some other regions, are very affordable. Now, I've been told that the reason for this is because of how new the wine industry is in the California region, the wine, the grape growing areas in the United States. Because those are much newer, not hundreds of years old, not passed down by generations. This wine and these taxes cause the wine to, even though younger, be priced higher to imported counterparts.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that.
well, but they're saying that it's not. It's just, they're saying it's artificial. That's incorrect. Would you say that that is actually a large part of the reason why, say, California wines do cost what they cost? Do you believe in the actual
Yeah, I mean,
numbers of those?
I just moved from there. I mean,
Right.
the real estate is, your barrier to entry is extremely high. Now, obviously California is a very large place, and then of course you have Oregon and Washington as well.
Yes.
And so those are almost different games. But Napa Valley, just as a small example, geographically is very small. It's only about 150 square miles. So and a lot of that is
That's a lot smaller than I have always pictured it.
Yeah. It's geographically it's very small, and a lot of that 150 square miles is dedicated to national or state land that you can't touch.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but Napa Valley as a volume player is very small. Reputationally, everybody thinks, oh, Napa Valley is great, but I think last I checked, and this was a long time ago, only accounts for about 4% of all the wine made in California. So, and that may have changed, but it's very small. But yeah, it's just California is very, very expensive. And so people are looking to other places. And it gets complicated because there are American companies that now own vineyards in Chile and Argentina and Australia. And so, where does this happen and where does that happen?
Where is it actually coming from?
Where is it
that
coming
type of
from?
thing?
And, yeah, who controls it and whose salaries are you having to pay? But a lot of things are just getting expensive. And there are so many options now. And distribution. I don't know if this is true in the beer industry as it is in the wine industry, but you're having consolidation with a lot of distributors.
Actually, yes.
So trying to find a distributor, ABC distributor who may have a portfolio of 2,000 SKUs, and how do you make headway? How do you get the rep to talk about your brand as opposed to the 1,999 other?
Not happening all in beer.
Yeah. So there's a lot of consolidation, and there's good things and bad things to that. But like you said, make a good product, and eventually
Make good stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of
Doesn't
times
matter.
And know your budget. That's
You
one
can
thing
be a
I've learned
tiny
too.
tiny little dick
Yeah.
in the world
In the
of-
big pond,
Yeah.
but don't expect it to happen overnight.
No,
unless
just-
you're starting with $10 billion dollars.
Just make good product.
Just make good product and have a lot of patience. I mean, if you had to have 10 things
Do
to
it for the
success,
right,
9
do it
of
for
them
the
are
right
patience.
reason. Yeah, do it for the right reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And then what were the last couple of notes that I sort of skipped past or skipped the previous two?
Oh, we were talking about something.
Fine.
Oh, yeah, we were-
multiple
shows.
choice, multiple
Oh,
choice
shit.
question and sip count.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right, Mike took a total. This was I think it was just over 30 minutes.
So like
I believe
33.
just like 33 minutes.
Sounds right.
Mike took a total of
I have no idea.
20 sips.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, it's right on my count too. Yeah.
Brett took
Marco?
a total of
That's
22
on right now.
sips.
Yeah, I got it.
So that's
42.
How many?
42 sips.
How many did you have?
22 for Brett.
I had 23.
Oh, okay. I might have missed one.
You
I do my best.
Probably missed one.
I
Yeah,
probably
it's-
missed one.
it's-
I do my best.
Wow.
I do my best. That is a total for my miscount, sir.
That's fine.
Of
Appreciate
42 countables. That is 84
84
ounces.
ounces.
Yes. Good job with
Ish.
the math.
Ish. Depending on-
5.25 pints in just over half an hour.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's
That's a lot.
That's good for them though. Like,
That's
it's on
working.
par.
Yeah,
That's
that's on
working.
par.
Yeah.
And then my multiple choice question had nothing to do with one of the topics that they covered, but rather the environment that they are in.
Okay.
Okay.
Why does it always sound like it's raining in the studio?
Yeah, always sounds like it's raining.
It always is.
Is it A, because it is? Is it B, it's a broken pipe? Or is it C, it's the chiller used to keep the gadget cold?
Or is it D, Julia?
Oh, God.
Or is it because God's flushing his toilet?
He could be.
He could be.
He could be. Bowling.
Could be.
Bowling.
Good Lord.
It's a church.
All right, do you want to talk about the Weekly Pint or Cincy Brewcast first?
Brewcast.
Brewcast,
Let's
all
go
right.
Brewcast.
Volume 10, Episode 11, Happy to Brewing. Which
I love
the
those
title
guys.
is a little different. I was going off of the Patreon, so I'm like, there's no real title. Just
I shifted.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
early. And I went, okay.
Just Trying to crank it out.
Yeah, no, it was perfectly fine. It was a fantastic episode. Mio's is located. Happy 2 is located in Mio's in Anderson Township.
Both are located in the same
Both are
spot.
correct. David and John, is it Madrill?
Sure. That sounds good.
You interviewed them. Why?
Madrill is what I say, but I don't know if that's
accurate or not.
Madrill
Okay.
sounds way
Okay.
better.
They've been brewing for over 25 years.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fantastic. Mio's owns the license for the brewery, which they didn't really get into, or you guys didn't get into a ton because that's probably more of an in the weeds, behind the scene, behind the curtain kind of thing. So it's a fully functional brewery that Mio's owns.
No.
Technically?
No.
Okay.
Separate entity.
Okay. But
Completely separate.
But Mio's pays for the brewing license to allow them to brew on their premise.
I don't
See,
know
that's what I
who
was trying
pays
to
for the
figure
brewing
out.
license.
Well, because it was stated that Mio's owns the license, and that's what I was trying to figure out. Okay, so how exactly?
They both.
How does that work?
They both coexist.
So it's a
in the same
symbiotic
space.
relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. All
That's
right.
the best way to put it.
We'll just leave it at that.
It was the first time that Ohio had ever like tried to figure this thing out. Like that's.
And so trying to explain it makes it almost impossible. Because you're like, well, it's this.
As far as I
thing.
know, it's never happened again yet.
It will.
It will.
It will.
Maybe.
But it just has
But
not.
First time, only time. It's a unique little spot.
It's something about something still doesn't know what a Kolsch is, and that's why they have a crispy Kolsch.
Okay.
Consumers.
The world.
I think it might say consumers. I don't know. I can't read my handwriting half the time.
Nobody knows what Kolsch
No one knows
is.
what a Kolsch is. Right.
What is a Kolsch?
Delicious.
Yes, let's start there.
It's a
Okay.
delicious style, but right.
How
I mean,
do you define Kolsch? What is a Kolsch?
It's.
And you've had a lot of Kolsch. I've drank a bunch of Kolsch with you.
Yes.
I know that you know Kolsch. How do you, if somebody that did not know craft beer walked up to you and said, what the fuck is this Kolsch thing?
I feel like it is to me, when I taste it, when I'm drinking it, to me, I feel like it is a slightly weedier Pilsner. Like it has the same like crispiness and lightness, and you can just toss them back like a Pilsner, but there's a little more to it, it's
more body.
it's not malty.
I like that.
So it's more on like a weedier side. We have hoppy lagers.
I
Kolsch
like that.
is a
No, I like
weedy
it.
Pilsner. Is, I guess, kind of the
there is
best
no
thing that I
wheat
could-
in a Kolsch.
Right.
But yes, but I get where you're at. I get it, and you're
Good.
absolutely. There's just a little bit more like body and like a thing.
Yeah.
I get that. Marco,
Yes.
what is a Kolsch?
Yes.
Kolsch is a beer that is making an attempt at being a very light and crispy beer.
Making an attempt
that is
sounds judgmental, but whatever.
using an ale yeast trying to ferment closer to lager temperatures.
Okay, well that's really nerdy. Whatever. Weedy,
And
But it's also
overachiever.
not wrong.
yeah, weedy Pilsner I think is better.
I think I played second base with the Weedy Pilsner
With the
in
Weedy
7th
Pilsner,
grade. Yeah. He was a good little kid.
I remember him.
Yeah, real scrappy Weedy Pilsner.
Very scrappy.
yeah.
Very absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Had some kick to it. They're trying to balance what they want to make versus what Mio's wants them to have to sell, which is a very interesting dynamic.
That's the most fascinating part of all of it to me, which we didn't get to dive in deep enough because we can't, but maybe one of these days.
Why? I guess because of some of the ownership or licensing.
We're trying to tell the story, and like you can't really like go down that rabbit hole right now.
Okay, that's fair.
We haven't told the story yet.
That is fair. You told a small part of the story, but there is more to come, hopefully, with. All right. Apparently, 50 West had the idea to put their 2-barrel system into a restaurant. Like they weren't.
Yeah.
They didn't come up with that themselves. 50 West went, hey, why don't you just brew at a restaurant? Which they probably went, is that even a thing? And they went, I don't know.
And then 50 West later was like, oh, we should also do that.
Do that, yes. yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's very fascinating.
Indianapolis is a very strange market for beer.
It's weird.
It is very weird.
Have you been?
Yes. And there's
Okay.
like nothing. They're like
It's weird.
2 or 3 places.
I've not.
There is nothing there.
Relatively like the city is like kind of the same size as Cincinnati,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like you go there
But
and
there
you're
are
like,
no
okay,
breweries.
oh, where's the beer?
Right.
Like there's a couple
Right.
places and it's the beer's fine.
How Common Beer Company helped them expand, which
Yep.
that was a fun part of the
That's thing.
conversation.
Shout out to Matt Damaris.
And-
Matt Damaris
yeah.
fixed everything
Yes.
in the
Which-
world, as he always does.
That's what he does.
Except that time he almost killed
Marco.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Oh man, you know what? I almost forgot about that.
How can you
now
forget about that?
Damn.
So if you ever sold a bag of like just the crumbs, would they be like dick dangles? Like for breading, like, you know, to
yeah.
bread chicken
Dick
with, stuff like that?
dangles,
Because
yeah.
you
Dick
crush
dangles.
this up and you do that?
Yeah.
Like that.
Dick's Dust.
Ooh, Dick dust.
Dusty Dicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dusty Dick.
Yeah. Breaking
All
news.
kinds of idea. Yes.
There's gotta be
Yes.
something there.
Yes. All right, two more notes, multiple choice, sip
Okay.
count, and then the weekly pint.
Okay.
Is the
show?
is the IPA category too big right now?
Yes.
And
too big.
how big does Happy 2 want to get? I think they are still working on figuring that answer out for themselves.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
There are a lot of great questions in that episode.
It's always good when you get to decide what your size is. You know,
Really?
not all of
You
us
know,
have
yeah.
that.
But
Yeah.
everybody wants to be bigger than they actually are.
Well, I don't know
Do
if that's
you?
the case.
Yeah, everybody.
No, I don't think.
All of no, everybody.
Some
wants to
people
be-
are just, you know, they're like, hey, I'm good.
Nope.
I'm okay.
No. Nobody.
I'm taking lessons from that because
you can
I'm
say that out loud, but everybody wants to be bigger.
Well,
Does
but-
Fibonacci want to be bigger?
Oh, we're talking about actual. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were still doing metaphor
you
things.
guys are still
You know,
talking
that's one
about
of the
this.
questions
Yeah,
when you're a
yeah.
small business, you have to ask yourself, and other people ask you directly, like when you go to them for money
Yeah.
and stuff, you know, where do you see yourself
I
in
was
5 years? Like a resume
I was
question.
talking about penises.
And like, well, there's that too. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Metaphors.
How much of that comes up in those questions? Like,
But
when
yeah.
you're just like sliding in, like,
Before we jump on these dicks, you know, what
Exactly.
do you? Yeah.
We need to talk size here.
Right.
We
How
need to talk
aggressive should we
growth.
be about the jumping?
that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I know that the playbook says you're supposed to say, oh, I want to be, you know, Frito-Lay, but I don't want to be Frito-Lay.
Lay.
You
Oh,
shouldn't.
sorry.
Yeah. But that's what, you know, in the business
You
world.
giggled at Lay.
You're kind of
That's where you
conditioned.
giggle?
There's
Yeah.
a lot of very confusing conversations happening right now because
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
serious there is a serious
Yes, there
conversation
absolutely
that is
is.
happening.
Yes.
But
And
I
there's
think-
the funny
But
joke
I think
about
what you're
big
saying
dicks.
is that if you put a limit on yourself, then they're actually going to feel like you're not
Right.
as serious or invested.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not the case when you're
No,
when you're a
it
one man
is.
business trying to do it. It's like
It should be. There should be a limit on you. Like there should be a limit there. Like there should be that point that you like. This is how big I want to be, and beyond that, it
Right.
changes. And I don't want to be that.
Right.
And,
But a lot of
and
people that you have to talk to,
investors
don't
or
think that- yeah,
whoever
they don't
else
think
that's
like
trying
that.
to make money off of you, like they want you to be as big as you can possibly be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily right.
Good. Right. Yeah.
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
necessarily what it should be. But
Yeah.
when
So
you're-
many,
when
so
you're-
many
when you're-
businesses outgrow. There's an old principle, philosophical principle. I can't remember what it's called, but where you rise about
yes.
one level
Something
above
about
what you're
dicks.
actually qualified to do. Yeah. There's
gotta be a dick
We're getting
joke in
deep.
here.
We're getting deep with dicks.
Deep dicks.
It's a dicks deep dive. I feel like that's a separate segment that should happen during the podcast.
With the Dick's deep dive.
All right, sip count for this episode.
Oh, Julia's bringing
because
us back.
I'm working on it.
She's getting us back on topic.
There were 17 sips that
It's a
I
good
could see in the
conversation.
video. It is a very
I
good
love it.
conversation, yes. Which is 34 ounces according to our drinking game, which
Okay.
is 5.4 pints.
that's a good amount of pints.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
That's
fine.
good.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
good.
And then my multiple choice question: how many times was the car trunk behind Gnome in this video opened during the course of the episode?
Good question.
Is it A, just one? Is it B, 3 times? Or C, it was open during the entire show?
Ah, Julia's a D.
Put that thing away. No. Put it away.
It's a D. I didn't ask you to count the junk in my trunk.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. I'm moving on to the weekly pint because it is we're getting long here, and that's
Hey, now.
in every ways. It is what I
Hey.
said. Quite literally. Episode 224. I have no idea how to pronounce what the title of this episode was. Ozaptif.
Oh, it's German.
I know.
It's German.
Zaptifs.
Zaptif.
Zaptifs.
I'm just going to stumble over that every single time I try to say it. So I'm just going to let you say it anytime I need the title repeated.
Somebody's going to correct me.
Yeah, but it will not be me. Your kids are going to kill you. They're going to be the cause of your death.
Trying.
Yes. So much like Matt tried to kill Marco, your kids are trying to kill
Different.
you. Just to try to tie all this in
I would
together.
say it would be different.
Oh, it
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Oktoberfest Quest has officially begun.
Yeah.
You brought out
it's
round
begun.
1 of the Oktoberfest Quest. Every year, for those of you who don't know, Gnome purchases or, sometimes is provided with.
Yeah, mostly
all-
purchase.
Yes. All of the locally packaged Oktoberfest beers in the
Hundreds
city.
and hundreds of dollars.
Lots and lots of them. And he puts them against each other to try to find what is that year's best Oktoberfest beer. There are a lot of them.
According to him, and it's
According
the
to him,
definitive
it's
opinion.
yes.
Is it like a March Madness where there's a bracket?
Exactly.
And-
Yes.
okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is
absolutely.
fantastic.
Oh,
Absolutely. It's
jump
great.
on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Jump on that.
That's what she said.
This was Sonder versus Listerman. You started with two heavy
Bangers.
hitters.
Like you
No.
came out like
two
with like
previous winners.
There is a system.
Sure, right.
There
And
is-
you and you went into the system.
there's a system
during
this
this
year.
episode. You
trying to
talked
blow
about
shit up.
There are seeds. There is like the number 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 4th seed. There's a much more comprehensive system to your quest this year. It sounds like than there had been in previous years.
It's kind of been there, but this
But
is
it's more
like
fleshed out.
the first time it's like official. Yeah.
Are you going to have an actual bracket image
Nope.
posted on your website?
Nope.
Okay, that's
Because
a
it
little-
depends when things get released.
Right, because some Oktoberfest beers for Oktoberfest Quest
Get
they're
released
released later
in October.
So he doesn't have everything. All
Shout
at
out to
one
all of
time.
you fuckers that release your beers in October and make it really difficult for me. Because then round 1 goes until October.
Yes,
It's
we're not
really
gonna,
tough.
We're not going to
So
expose on our
stupid.
podcast who won this round, but man, it was.
Yeah, shout out to Sonder
It
for.
was a-
Oh, wait, we're not going to say.
I mean, I wasn't. You're more than welcome
Oh,
to say
sorry.
whatever you want.
Sorry, messed that up.
We're trying to drive people
confused.
to watch your stuff.
Yeah, watch
and by
how Sonder beat
exposing-
Listerman.
Yes, it was pretty interesting.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Or maybe not.
I do think it was
Maybe I'm
interesting
joking.
that because you read the side of the can for Sonder and it mentioned the 5K. Apparently, the Flying Pig relay wasn't enough. You are now signed up to do the Sonder and Friends 5K.
I will be
in
there that
October.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there. I will be there. I will be there that day.
Will you be putting medals around people's necks at the finish line, or
No,
No.
usually I'm there when it's wrapping up and I'm trying to
get the first
figure
beer
out
of
the
day?
traffic and get myself
That's fair.
to be there and not have to carry things too far.
Started a podcast before.
Yeah.
Everybody's drunk, but somebody is really drunk by that point.
Yeah.
They're always drunk.
Yeah.
Somebody's
They're
totally
always-
smashed
they're
at that
always
moment.
drunk.
You talked about some of the other Oktoberfest beers that you've already had this year.
Can't
or
wait.
this season.
Last night, I walked in the house with literally 2 cases of Oktoberfest beer. I walked in and I looked at my wife and I said, "I'm sorry, whatever seltzer is in that fridge
Is gone.
You need to either drink it tonight or it's going to sit on the workbench in the garage until you do."
Yes,
and
yes.
that's where it is right now. We're in Oktoberfest quest.
So basically, typical.
Mode.
Yeah, I was going to say. So typical of every year about this time is just
Yeah, we just don't talk
Chaos
for,
on the
for a
relationship.
couple months.
She's an Oktoberfest widow, basically. You have football widows.
Yeah.
I hope that she
Probably.
understands, but I don't know that she does.
I mean, this isn't the first year.
no, and it
No,
won't be
but
the
it
last
gets
year. Worse every year.
Worse every single year. It's like, I'm sorry. You remember how you used to have a driveway? Not anymore.
Costa hits
Just a
the pitch.
big, giant cold box in the driveway. That's about where we're at. It's bad.
He gets a roll-off cold box
It,
delivered.
it always seems like a good idea, and then you realize, so last year was what, 38?
Yeah,
Yeah,
38
I think
Oktoberfest
38,
beers.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I try to hold on to at least one of them throughout the whole competition. So
Yeah.
and then you have to hold on to a second one because you might have the round where somebody comes back. I mean, you're talking about hundreds,
a lot of beer.
hundreds of beers that you can't drink. They just hang out in a fridge somewhere. Hundreds of beers. Like, it's so much. It's so stupid.
Speaking of holding on to beers, you brought out 2 barrel-aged beers.
I did.
That you said I was going to
drank one
drink
of
these,
them.
and now I'm not. And then, spoiler
I drank
alert, you
one.
ended up drinking
one.
them.
I didn't drink
Correct.
them both.
You did do both of them. You just said one.
Yeah, I drank one. And it was good.
And you
so
did,
good.
and you did cuvee the first 2 Oktoberfest beers
Always.
in the challenge.
Yeah.
Because when you have
Always
multiple
cuvee.
beers, always cuvee.
Yep.
Let's see, what else do we have here? You're struggling a bit on cutting back on your can collection.
Yeah,
Which we've talked about before.
I'm not struggling. I'm struggling. Yeah, it's tough.
It's a struggle.
It's an adjustment. Like trying to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It hurts. Sorry.
I feel like you describing using the new
Identity
can
crisis
crusher.
has to go.
No, I'll take that one.
It's there.
I loved your conversation about certain cans evoke those memories.
Yeah.
I still remember the very first time I had Identity Crisis. It was in the can because that's the only way that Mad Tree was selling it.
That's what's
I was with a
hard.
friend of mine, Mike, who was visiting from Arizona. Josh and I went up to
That guy.
Mad Tree. And it was absolutely amazing.
Does Mike know Bill?
I don't know if he knows Bill or not. Bill from Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to ask him. Hey, do you know Bill? And he'll say, what Bill?
Yeah.
You know,
Bill from Arizona.
Bill from Arizona.
The problem is every beer has some kind of memory
Oh,
associated
sure.
with it.
Sure.
And so all of these cans, every time I pick one up, I'm like, oh, I remember this.
It's like
I remember when this came out. I remember who made this. I remember the story behind it. Crush it! Like, it's hard.
I know. I feel like you
it's
can
really
hear
hard.
your heart breaking a little
Yeah,
bit with
every time.
each can crush
Every
that's
time.
happening. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Terrible.
You are super excited about the can crusher. You just don't like
It's a ton of fun.
using it
Yeah, no,
with
it's a
the
ton of fun.
cans. Yes.
Crush me.
Let's see.
Faces in my mind.
Last few notes that I had because
Gets.
I was kind of falling asleep during the show
Yeah,
near the
me
end
too.
of it because
Me too.
yeah. You had some talk about the website and potential. I don't want to call it expanding what you're doing with it,
Oh,
but
no, it's
but thoughts,
it's
but thoughts
expansion.
about
Oh, yeah.
thoughts about guest writers for the
Yeah,
blog
so,
and your own studio space and how that was a solid thought and then kind of
Those-
turned into a I don't know if that's
Those are
actually
two
good.
very
There's
different thoughts.
Well, yes, but I'm trying to
So,
condense
so
because this is like all I have and then the sip count and then we're done.
maybe at some point we'll accept writers into the website. Like probably that'll happen at some point, very soon, ish, maybe ish. I don't know how to.
It's
I don't know the word.
yeah.
The website is doing great, and I'm loving kind of expanding the website and kind of building it into what, in my opinion, the vision has always been. But in order to actually do that, we just need
Content on it.
way more content.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to ask somebody to write something without paying them to do that. So at some point we'll take some paid posts, and that's going to happen soonish.
Okay.
We'll call it that.
I really didn't have much else. It was another really fun show, even though I was falling asleep near the end. That was me, not
It
you.
seems like a judgment, but it's fine. It's fine. I get it. It was
I
late.
had to get up at 5 in the
Oh, I
morning.
was so mad.
I was sleeping. All right, let's close off this episode with the sniff and sip count
right.
for the weekly
Okay.
find.
Okay.
29 sniffs. Like you were really getting into the Oktoberfest.
Man, you were getting
Yeah, there was a
You
lot of
really-
different beers though.
Yeah,
and,
there
and
were,
we're talking
absolutely.
about the Happy 2 beer and everything. There's a lot of sniffing
Right.
going on. Okay.
And when you're doing the
valid.
Oktoberfest quest, you're trying to get as much information, as much sensory information about those beers as you can.
Yeah.
So a lot of sniffing, not as many sips because smaller taster glasses.
Big
There were
sips.
only 8 total sips
Okay.
that I counted, which is a total
That
of
tracks.
37 countables, 74 ounces, 4.625 pints in that roughly hour-ish
I'm okay with that.
episode. Yeah, that's fine. That works. It was a lot of fun, even though it was hella late.
Do you guys want to make a prediction for winners of this year's Oktoberfest quest?
Ooh.
It's
It-
not
it-
gonna
it all-
not gonna at all affect how I judge things. But
We
Who
see
won
that-
last year?
Sonder.
That was Sonder
Yeah,
last year.
so this year's
Sonder won the
Oktoberfest
year
Sonder
Quest
2 years in
finale.
a row.
will be at Sonder. Yeah.
Sonder won 2 years in a row.
No. Because Mad Tree was
2
the year
years
before.
winners.
2
Not
years
in a row.
winners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ziegler
Yep.
was a winner.
In
Yep.
between. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Fest Beer from Listerman was a winner.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess purely on, I'm like, that's a 16-ounce can. I'm like, that's got to be Listerman.
I'm going to make a prediction. I'm not going to call the winner.
Okay.
I'm going to say that
Before you say your theory, so full disclosure, Sonder gave me beer this year.
Okay.
They gave me 2 6-packs.
Will they refresh that with new 6-packs closer to Oktoberfest Quest Finale if they make it far
If
enough
they
in the
make
bracket?
it, the offer is out there. I'm assuming they won't need to, and they don't have to, and it's refrigerated, and there is no way it's going to be fresher than what I've got. But that has to be put out there.
Sure.
Sure. No, we get it. I'm going to say that Franz is going to go deep.
Ooh, I like that.
year.
I like it.
Deep.
It depends who they're up against.
I think I've had
They're like
several offerings.
What are they, a 3 seed?
I
I
had.
didn't put out my seating.
Oh my gosh,
Nobody
I've had
knows except for me.
several. I've had West Side, two from a Third Eye.
Yeah, Third Eye's got 2 different
Yeah,
ones
they have,
this year.
Yeah, they have a Thespian
Yeah.
American, right?
I've had
And I
Sonder,
love that they're doing their
I've had
6-pack is a mixed 6-pack of 3
Yeah, except
of
I
each.
now
I
have to buy
love
2.
that. I absolutely
Sonder,
love
Rheingeist. Gosh, I feel like I've had even more than that, and I feel like Franz is representing really good right now. Like it is. It's really good. Oh, I've had Rock in the Rhine.
I haven't tried it yet this year.
Yeah,
Is it good?
it is good. Of course, it's good.
I have not
but-
had any local Oktoberfest beers yet.
Oh,
What?
I know.
Oh, I have had so many.
What are your metrics for judging? So,
Ooh.
is it?
Oh, boy, here
is
we
it
go.
Flavor?
Great.
Is it at
Yes.
price to value
Yes.
ratio? Is it the can?
Yes.
Is it food
Yes.
compatibility?
Yes. No. It's me
X factor.
in my head. If I'm sitting at an Oktoberfest and there's like this like fun little window of Oktoberfest enjoyment where the sun's out, it's hot, and you're sitting there and you're sweaty and you're sitting in a beer garden, and then the sun goes down and all of a sudden it shifts and it gets a little chilly, and people are hanging out and they're dancing and they're clinging their steins together and all that stuff. It's that like in between. I need both. It has to be a beer that hits both of those sides, because there's some beers that hit one really well and there's some that hit the other. It has to be like right in between, which is really, really tough to do.
Yeah.
So it's not the style. It's not a Merit Center or Fest beer. I don't give 2 shits about how you label your beer.
Yeah.
It needs to hit both
Party
of those
lager.
things. Has to hit both. And they all hit both. It's really tough.
I bet.
Yeah, it's a very difficult burden I carry, but I'm willing.
Was that was Oktoberfest beer a big thing out in California?
Yeah, but not as big as it is here.
That one.
I mean,
way.
it's- I guess
No way.
Yeah.
No
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No way.
you would have it, but it's there's not the passion for it that there is here.
Oh.
For sure.
Any other notes before we wrap the show up?
I don't think so.
Jason, thank you so much for being here. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
participating in the chaos that was this episode. Thank you for bringing your dicks and laying them out on the table for us.
I'm happy to do it.
Holy hell. People
Yeah.
Dicks
hope it-
everywhere.
yeah.
love it. Love it.
Was it good for you?
It was excellent.
Oh my
great
God.
for me.
Absolutely
Tell you what.
phenomenal.
What I like to hear.
I can
Changed
still
my life.
taste it in the
Yeah.
back of my
Yeah.
throat.
Yeah.
So good.
So got that tickle going on. It's,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. If you're out and about and you see Dick's potato chips, buy them, eat them. You will see.
Not enough. Shout them out.
Shout them
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Follow them on social media at Dick's Potato Chips, Facebook and Instagram. And maybe there'll be stickers one of these days. And
Yeah.
if there are stickers, Get the stickers and put them up everywhere because who doesn't want to see,
And
One-Eyed Willie
right.
when you're going to the bathroom?
And if you're in a bar and they don't have dicks,
Tell them they should get dicks.
take a leak and then come back out and say, "Hey, you should eat a bag of dicks," and
right.
then pay your tab and then walk out.
Yeah.
Sounds
You really
good to
should
me.
be saying that anyway. I feel like
True.
in life,
Maybe,
but if
but
it can be,
I think there's
relevant
like
to my
power
body.
to like saying it and then like storming out. Like there's some eat a bag of dicks.
Eat a bag of dicks.
Yes, they are
Please.
phenomenal.
Always
I
say
am
please.
so
Thank
glad
you.
that you're here in Cincinnati and that you ran with your passion to make absolutely phenomenal potato chips based off of an amazing joke or almost an insult that turned into a joke.
Right.
Listen to our bonus
great.
episode where we talked to Jason about how Dix came to be and the future of Dix and the new flavor that is coming
Future
out
Dix.
Yep.
near the end of September. It
Yeah.
is freaking amazing. Gnome, thank you for coming back.
Of
even
course.
though,
Great to have you, buddy.
it's great to
Yeah,
have
it's
you
good
back.
to be back.
Back.
And Rachel, thank you for showing up. Happy
Hello,
birthday
Rachel.
to you.
Birthday.
Happy birthday!
You sure you don't want any dicks? I'm sure.
I was going to yell for her to eat a bag of dicks, and I felt it was
You're like,
inappropriate. and
we'll let
that's,
Marcus
that's where I
say
draw my
some of this.
line.
That's right. The night is young.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
If you enjoyed the chaos that we did tonight, you know what to do. Like, review, subscribe, share, do all of those things. Most importantly, go to our website, truthbeerpod.com.
And eat a bag of dicks.
Links to all of our websites. I will put a link to Dix on our website, and
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
be all over the show notes as well. What else do I need to say?
Hashtag
if you-
link your dicks.
Link your Dix?
Link, yeah,
You're-
a link to dicks.
Oh, a link. There we
Yeah.
go. Okay,
Hashtag
I see what
link
you're
your
doing there. I
dicks.
see what you're doing there.
That's a thing.
You can also find a link to subscribe to our Patreon, which is where all of the extra content is. And when I say
Oh.
extra content,
Oh, extra dicks.
oh, shout out, Marco, shout out.
Oh, yeah.
Shout
Okay,
out.
I've got two shout outs.
Yes.
First, Adam Makes Beer.
I forgot.
Go and listen.
Adam's dicks.
Go and listen
Adam
to.
loves dicks.
Adam actually switched the day that he recorded his live Q&A from a Tuesday to a Friday, so it was this past Friday.
Okay.
He actually, in what he calls sort of the industry news, where it actually ends up becoming personal news,
Yeah.
he shares a really, really personal story that I think a lot of us can relate to, and is very just transparent. And I just want to tell Adam that, I really appreciate the content. I appreciate you trudging forward and doing what you're doing, because it helps a lot of people. And please keep doing it. And the work that you're doing at Sonder is impactful and means something in the beer community. So
100%.
please keep doing that. And I totally support everything you're doing. I watch, I listen, and I encourage everyone to go and watch and listen. The other shout out I want to give is to Matthew with Line and Tap.
Yes.
My
yes,
buddy
yes. Oh
Matt
my God, I'm
with
so sorry,
Line
I
and
forgot
Tap.
that.
Thank you, Matt. You know what you did. We appreciate it. And
Thank
if
you,
you
thank
have
you, thank you,
lines
thank you.
and you have taps, then you need to get in touch with Matt with Line and Taps. Go and search out Matt with Line and Taps. Get your taps clean and get them so fresh and so new. And thank you, Matt.
The only thing worse than a dirty tap is a dirty dick.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Can't disagree with that.
Yeah, the
Can't
flavor.
disagree at all.
Yeah, can't get
Yeah.
rid of that.
No,
Can't
not
get
at all.
No.
Clean it up.
Both
Yeah,
of them have to be
clean it up.
clean. But yes.
Back to you, Julia.
All right. Patreon.com/truthbeerpod. You get all the content that I cut out of the public-facing episodes. So sometimes you get 10 extra minutes of content. Sometimes you get 30. Sometimes you get an hour.
7 hours.
It can be a lot, but it is a lot of fun.
We
and
do
it helps
promise
us.
at least 40% of it is good. The extra content.
40% is good,
At
10%
least
of the
40%.
time. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And it helps us to pay for
Do
website
some
hosting, podcast hosting, all of that kind of fun stuff. With that being said, Jason, Marco, what are you guys going to be doing next Tuesday?
Well, I'm going to be doing this, hopefully with all my friends.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
eat-
Sounds
I'm gonna eat
good.
Some dicks. Whole bunch
Cheers.
of dicks. All the dicks I can get.